Okay, welcome. So I am going to do a dupe video on the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. These are not exact dupes, but I think they're pretty good. And if you really want a palette, it inspires you, even if it's not the most unique, I say don't torture yourself and just get it. But if you're like me and you really like this palette, it looks pretty, but you don't want to spend $129, then you can either shop your stash, look for similar colors, or buy a few single shadows of the most interesting colors. So here we go. And I didn't dupe every color because a few of them are just kind of matte brown colors, so you know. Okay, first up, there's kind of like a peachy matte shade in that, and I found quite similar one, I think, is Coastal Scents Paprika. I really like this, and these Coastal Scents shadows, I love the quality. So there it is there, and I'll be showing swatches too. Okay, next up, a very light orangey kind of color, also a matte shade. This one really stood out to me, and I have Devinah Anastasia. There it is right there. That is, I think, fairly close to the one in the palette. Okay, then there's a kind of metallic peachy color, and I found Coastal Scents Bright Copper. That is right there. I really like that color a lot. It's very opaque and pigmented. Okay, next up, this is the one that is in a palette, but I found a similar shade from Coastal Scents that I will show you, but I don't actually own it, but I think it's very similar. It's basically the very light metallic yellow. So this one in this Coastal Scents, I Think I Love You. It's called Rule Breaker. As you can see, it is a little brighter than the one in the palette, but I think the Coastal Scents one that I found is actually pretty close. Okay, next up, this bottom row in the palette was the one that really drew me in. I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And the first one is a very light metallic blue. Oh, I love this one, but I have a very similar shade. And actually a few of the Juvia's Place palettes have similar shades too, particularly the Magic palette. I didn't bring that with me, but there's a very similar shade. So here is Devinah Cupid. Very light, kind of a metallic baby blue. I really like that one. Okay, and then the next one, I think I swatched these out of order, but in the palette there's a matte blue, pretty bright blue. And so I found Coastal Scents Electric Blue right there. Whoop. I think that one is actually pretty close. And then there is a metallic blue. So the one I found is a bit more navy, but that's, I chose that because that's what suits me better. The very bright metallic blues, like that kind of classic metallic blue, I don't really like the way those look on me. So I really like Coastal Scents Rainstorm, but it is just a little bit darker than the one in the palette. Okay, and then, did I skip over one? I don't know. I think I skipped over the metallic green, and that one I found also is from Devinah, and it's called Chimerical. I feel like this one's pretty close too. The one in the palette maybe looks a bit more Christmassy green, but there it is there. Okay, and then the last one is a matte purple. This one isn't exact because the one I have is just a bit more bright fuchsia. The one in the palette is a kind of mid-tone cool purple, but I feel like in an eye look, sometimes things like that don't look that different when you're wearing it on the eyes. So the closest thing I found in my collection is Coastal Scents Magenta, which is right there. So yeah, I feel like these are some pretty good dupes for the Natasha Denona palette. Let me know if you are going to get it. I do think it looks absolutely lovely, but clearly I have a lot of very similar shades. And if you don't want to get these, but you do want some dupes, I recommend going on the Coastal Scents site because I don't have all of them, but they have so many colors, and it's kind of my go-to place when I don't really want to buy a palette, but there's just one or two colors that I don't have in my collection. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.